Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India, Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start today's sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. So today is commemorated as Indian Air Force Day on October 8th, which is celebrated to pay tribute to the Air Force of India and acknowledge the excellence the country has presented in this field. Founded on October 8, 1932, the force has been part of several landmark missions and have led to success of nation. These historic Air Force battles have also built the reputation of India as a country that is strong on the battlefield and possesses the force required to protect its nation. So this year, honor India's aviation industry and the Air Force personnel who have spent years to ensure the safety of the state. Like every Air Force in the world, it took the Indian Air Force a lot of practice to excel on the battlefield. However, the resilience of the officers ensured that force attained success and became one of the strongest in the world. When the Air Force was officially established, it possessed a strength of 6 RAF trained officers and 19 air soldiers. Their inventory contained 4 Westland Wapiti 2A Army Cooperation biplanes. This wasn't much compared to the strong air force of dozens of other countries in the world. However, a little over 4 years, a flight took off towards Waziristan to support the Indian army against insurgent Bhutani tribesmen. A B flight was formed in April 1936 on the vintage Wapiti, and in 1938, a C flight was raised during the number 1 squadron, ostensibly to full strength. By the time World War II took place, the strength of the Indian Air Force had risen greatly. After 1941, a training structure in India became critical for the force, and the RAF, Royal Air Force, flying instructors were assigned to flying clubs to produce training to volunteers and interested individuals. Training was given to 7 clubs in British India and 2 in various princely states. All these measures were took place after issues concerning defense of India were reassessed in 1939 by the Chatfield Committee. However, after years of training and government giving extra attention to Air Force, the squadrons emerged as one of the best flyers in the world. So the colonies, the Indian Air Force is created to support the Royal Air Force of United Kingdom. Fly High, the first high, takes place in 1933. So the Indian Air Force loses 6 aircraft to bombings by the Japanese in 1942, and Arjun Singh is granted the rank of Marshal of the Air Force, becoming the first and only 5-star officer in 2002. So Indian Air Force Day is celebrated every year at the Hindon base, and Major Stringer Lawrence is the father of Indian Army as popularly known. And the Indian Air Force scores higher in areas such as work-life balance, better than Navy, and visit a parade to see the Air Force in action. Visit a parade and you will be left in awe at the skills of Indian Air Force and the planes they fly to protect the nation. So are you talented sort when you write well? This is a perfect show to show your love for the country by composing a song for the Air Force. Use the day to educate youngsters regarding the history of Air Force and the wars they have fought for the country. One of the largest in the world, the Indian Air Force is the 4th largest in the world. The Indian Air Force motto is touching the sky with glory. It has over 813 combat aircraft, the largest defense firm in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The Air Force has had 4 wars with neighboring country, Pakistan, and 1 with China. And it's patriotic. The day itself spreads love for India and the efforts and sacrifices that are made by the armed forces. It also encourages youngsters to dream to be part of the force. The day serves as a reminder of history and speaks of several events that required help of their Air Force. Therefore, the day is educational. On this day, the entire nation gathers together to pay tribute to the Air Force regardless of their social class or gender. Today is also commemorated as International Birth Registration Day on October 8, 2024. Annually, and this initiative seeks to protect vulnerable newborns by having their births registered. In 2018, Johnson's Baby founded the Right Start program on October 8, and it is the form that point out that International Birth Registration Day began. The Right Start program has identified the Middle East and Africa. There are currently hundreds of millions of newborns and infants who have not yet had their births registered. This places the most vulnerable members in those communities, children, in an even more vulnerable position. International Birth Registration Day is about spreading awareness about the rights of the children and ensuring that they can receive them. In 2019, the UN reported that over half of the population in Africa were undocumented in their own countries. They had never had their births registered and as such did not exist in bureaucratic systems in their nations. A similar study, also conducted in 2019 by UNICEF, revealed that a startling 1 in 40 children under 5 in MENA region, Middle East, and North Africa was not registered. These children were commonly referred to as uncounted children, and there is growing international pressure to have them accounted for and increase the registration rate of newborn children. Around 91 million children in the MENA region did not receive a birth certificate and have never been registered. For an individual, this is an extremely problematic way to maneuver through life. Often these children are already faced with poverty and combined with their lack of official identity are vulnerable to exploitation by malicious parties. Johnson's baby partnered with Save the Children and committed itself to the increasing number of registered births across the MENA region. The registration program rollout targeted Lebanon and Ethiopia as key nations and funded the training and expansion of the registration program in both countries. With increased awareness and international pressure, these vulnerable children and babies can access their human rights and protection that comes with it. So the fall of Ottoman Empire leads to massive power vacuum in the Middle East, and the remainder of the century is made up of regional conflicts and wars that leave management of government records difficult to maintain. Ethiopia becomes independent, and Ethiopia becomes one of the first African nations to receive independence. Soon after this, many and eventually all African countries receive independence. Although many African countries experienced degrees of civil war after independence, Ethiopia's almost 2 decades long civil war leaves the government infrastructure in ruins in 1970. For 15 years, Lebanon is engaged in a terrible civil war in 1975. So there was a host of socio-economic reasons depending on the socio-specific location, but ultimately it boils down to an environment that does not or cannot prioritize the rights of children. There are many ways in that you can get involved. The problem is global and you can make a difference simply by raising awareness. So a name and national identity are the first rights that governments are expected to protect with a registered birth. In every bureaucratic sense, the child does not exist, which makes them vulnerable to exploitation. Save the Children is a global outreach initiative dedicated to saving children's lives and transforming their reality positively. Visit their platform and learn more about the plight of children saving around the world. The Right Start program is a great initiative. It promotes the rights of children and their access to basic human necessities and support them with donations. In keeping with day, make sure that you register your child's birth at the earliest opportunity if you haven't been able to prioritize it for their sake. After over a decade of conflict, an estimated 2.5 million children in Syria and 750,000 in neighboring countries have no access to education. In 2022, 40% of the world child soldiers can be found in Africa, abducted and forced into service. There are about 21,000 armed child soldiers in Africa. A child's paradise, Ireland has been recognized as #1 in the world for its child rights environment with legislation that protects children's interests comprehensively. This is an international convention that seeks to ratify a universal offering for the rights of children. In 2022, only 2 countries have yet to sign, Somalia and United States. Children have a right to be loved. It is an intrinsic part of their information, and they have right to access love. It's heartbreaking to know how many children fall through the cracks and remain uncounted. This initiative was built to serve the needs of humanity, our children, and our future. It also raises the convenient times, sometimes to remain, it's convenient sometimes to remain ignorant. However, organizations like Johnson's Baby and the Right Start are forcing people to see inequality globally. In 2022, the global population of children numbered 2.2 billion. The way they are accepted, raised in this world will not just inform their values and behavior, but our future too. We'll just resume in a minute. Today is also commemorated as International Newspaper Carrier Day, which celebrates the resilient paper carriers who have been around for as long as newspapers themselves. These fearless riders bring us news every morning and hot of the press, whether rain or shine, standing on the street corner or avoiding disturbing dogs. The dedication of newspaper carriers deserves recognition. Newspaper Carrier Day honors 10-year-old Blarney Flaherty, the first paper boy hired by Museum of the City of New York in the United States in 1833 in response to an advertisement in the Sun calling for steady men to apply. Young Flaherty hoisted a load of newspapers. Publisher Benjamin Day approved and hired Flaherty, and soon after the streets of New York were filled with cries of paper. Get your paper here. Since then, countless aspirants have followed in his footsteps, and more than 185 years later, Newspaper Carrier Day honors all of them. So Newspaper Carrier Day honors 10-year-old Barley Flaherty, the first paperboy hired by the Museum of the City of New York in United States in 1833 in response to an advertisement, The Sun, calling for steady men to apply. Young Flaherty hosted a load of newspapers. Publisher Benjamin Day approved and hired Flaherty, and soon after the streets of New York were filled with cries of paper, get your paper here. Since then, countless aspirants have followed in his footsteps, and more than 185 years later, Newspaper Carrier Boy Day honors all of them. It is remarkable how great people in history were shaped by the humble beginnings of a paper boy into who they later became, the Albert Einstein, James Cagney, Martin Luther King Jr., and Isaac Asimov. Among the generations of paper carriers, being a newspaper carrier sharpens one's street knowledge, dealing with people, being up to date with latest news, and becoming a good salesman. In 1960, a newspaper carrier Hall of Fame was created to acknowledge some of the history's most famous newspaper carriers. Nowadays, not many young people are newspaper carriers, but the job is still offered to youngsters in many local communities. Young girls and boys brave the weather and other conditions, committed to delivering the news to people around in neighborhood. Today is also commemorated as Dyslexia Day. What many of us take for granted, such as reading and writing fluently, is an area of struggle for those who have dyslexia. Dyslexia is a common learning disorder that affects a person's ability to read and write properly. Dyslexics are often unable to read quickly and write about committing errors. Dyslexics might struggle with reading and writing vocabulary and tasks that require hand-eye coordination. It affects 20% of the population and makes up to 80 to 90% of all those with learning disorders. With Dyslexia Day raises awareness about these issues and what can be done to manage such a disorder. So dyslexia is a learning disorder that affects both children and adults. Since its manifestation is almost always external, it can be quickly diagnosed. Dyslexia was first identified by German physician Oswald Birken in 1881. It was named dyslexia by ophthalmologist Rudolf Berlin 6 years after the disorder was identified. Birkin discovered the existence of the developmental reading disorder while analyzing the cause of the young boy who had reported several difficulties in learning to read and write properly. Since the patient was otherwise intellectually and physically sound, Birkin was specially intrigued by his case. Once his findings became popular, Bacon realized that his young patient wasn't a rare case and that in fact many adults seem to be suffering from it too. Like some other disabilities, dyslexia cannot be treated just by medication. Patients often need therapy, innovative methods for learning, and persistent care by caregivers to live a life where their learning difficulties can be managed. When the disorder is undiagnosed, patients are often mistaken as lazy, slow learners, or stubborn with a knack for stirring up trouble. And this is, of course, far from the truth. Since dyslexia was discovered, doctors and therapists the world over have been trying to find the best ways for dyslexics to manage their disorder. Since reading can be a challenge for dyslexics, a special dyslexia font has been invented to make reading easier. Apart from Dyslexia Day, Dyslexia Awareness Month, created by the International Dyslexia Association, is also celebrated during the month of October every year. Today is also commemorated as World Octopus Day. which is annually marked on October 8th, and we are drawing up plans to celebrate the existence of one's nature, most iconic sea creatures. Octopus are remarkably intelligent and adaptable, with some octopus fossils predating the era of dinosaurs. They are known to be older than most creatures currently existing today. One thing you can be sure of is that there are more of this amazing sea creature than a bulbous head and 8 legs with suction cups. So octopus are members of class Cephalopoda, which means head foot in Greek, while the name octopus comes from the Greek word octopus, meaning 8 feet. Octopuses have 8 arms, which more than not have suction cups at the bottom. The arms have clusters of neurons in them, which allow different arms to do different tasks at the same time. The neuron clusters may be considered to be brains. Thus, octopus have 9 brains, having a central one that controls their nervous system and one in each arm. Octopus have not just one but 3 hearts, two for moving blood to the gills and the other for pumping blood through the rest of the body. They are highly intelligent and have been known to perform tasks ranging from open jars to using tools. They are incredibly flexible, are great at hiding, and can be found in every ocean in the world. In addition, octopus are visually stunning, coming in various colors, a multitude of sizes, and all sorts of shapes. Some live in very shallow waters of the sea, while others can be found thousands of meters below the surface, sometimes called the chameleons of the sea. Octopuses are often able to change colors to enrich surroundings as a form of protection against predators. According to some sources, World Octopus Day was started in 2006 by the Octopus News magazine online to celebrate the uniqueness of the octopus, and it has been annually observed since then. This week is also commemorated as Iris Film Festival from October 8 to 13, which is an internationally the largest LGBT plus short film prize celebrated in October. And this year it will be held from October 8 to 30. It takes place in Cardiff every year on a week chosen by the festival's company. Fans all over the world celebrate this event online all through October. The Iris Prize is a film award with a package value of $30,000 and is awarded to the winning filmmaker to help them make their next film. So the Iris Prize is an international LGBT plus film prize and festival open to any film which is by for about and are of interest of gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender audiences and completed within 2 years of prize deadline. It was created in 2007 by Berwin Rowlands. John Berwin Rowlands was born in September 1966. He is a Welsh creative producer and the founder of Festivals Company and the Irish Prize Festival. In 2006, Rowlands established the Festivals Company, presently responsible for event management, public relations, and marketing consultancy. It was through this organization that Rowlands actualized the Iris Prize. The Festivals Company fixes the date for Iris Prize Film Festival. Although it is always a week in October, the company is situated in Cardiff, Wales, where the festivals are held. Rowlands has been a campaigner and activist for the LGBT rights and inclusivity. His efforts have earned him several awards, the most recent being a St. David Awards presented to him by the First Minister of Wales in 2022, acknowledging his work with Iris Prize. So the Iris Prize has gained the love and the support of LGBT plus film festivals from around the world. The award has made possible the first international award platform with the intent of rising profile of LGBT plus cinema. It continues to help the new generation of filmmakers attain recognition in the international scenes. The year 2020 was the only year the festival in Cardiff could not hold due to COVID-19 pandemic. The event, however, continued smoothly online. The Iris Prize is celebrated throughout October online and has been a source of inspiration to the LGBT plus community as it has given them the representation in the cinematic universe they deserve. So the festival company surfaces John Beverly. Rolands establishes the festival company in 2006. Apart from this, today we have many other days like Ada Lovelace Day and American Touch Tag Day, Honduras Discoveries of America Day, and National Face Your Fears Day, National Fraternity, National Harbor Master Appreciation Day, and so on. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. And the coming events are World Mental Health Day on 10th October and 31st October, and October 11th is commemorated as World Social Work Day, Indian Social Work Day. So we have a program on Indian Social Work Day on 11th October. Of course, we understand that it's a festival day. And as part of the festival, let's also celebrate this day and kindly join us. And we'll quickly conclude on that day, festival being festival day. And we have also one more conference planned on animal veterinary medical health sciences, as this month, entire month is commemorated as World Animal Month. And we have celebrated World Animal Day on October 4th. So on this occasion, we are organizing a 3 days program, 27th to 29th of October, as 3 days international conference. So those who are interested to participate and present, you are welcome to participate and present. The registration forms will be circulated soon in various social media platforms. And you can also check our website and register yours. So thank you once again, everyone. Happy Navratri. Take care. Good night.